I'm Stephen Metz, and today I wanted to go over just a couple things about this whole art project that I'm working on. And many of you know me from my internal arts, yoga and meditation trainings. Many of them are designed to stimulate creativity and get you in touch with your purpose in life. Today I wanted to talk about why I think that art in its various forms is the main purposeful thing. I hear this a lot. I'm trying to find my purpose. I'm trying to find what I'm here on this earth to do. And this lecture is an attempt of at least a personal answer for that, which I believe is a very valid question, especially now with today is being February 1st, 2021. We're in the middle of this pandemic. And the question of art. I remember a lecturer, one of my teachers, talked about during the wartime and during the wartime effort. One of the generals came in and said, all of this, pointing at the art on the wall, all of this is of no use for us now. We need useful things. Meaning, in what he meant by that specifically was, machinery, bullets, gasoline, things like that. When you are born, I'm going to just start right off the bat with this. We are born into a system. A lot of our system, still, even to this day, is still based on the industrial complex, right? And the kind of modern industrialization of humanity with factories and so on. We're no longer so much a agrarian culture. And so I want you to go back to the very roots of your thought processes and look at the fact that we're born into this sort of grid to go to school, right? And when you go to school, you study. And why? Why do you study? Well, you study so you can add and subtract and write and do all these things that are very necessary. They are purposeful and definitely useful. But there is an age, I think, where all of us, for me, I remember I was very young. I started off in a artistic family. We played music and did art, actually. My brother is a lifelong artist. I, of course, did some dabbling in drawing and in my later years painting as well. But there is a point where, for me, it was around 10, what is my purpose? What is the meaning of this life? Right? We've already sort of won the lottery by the sheer fact that we're alive, right? Your chances of actually becoming a human being are 1 in billions, right? If you think about that, your life truly is a gift, like an art piece. So when you do all of these things, study and learn and think about and work, right, as you get older, so you go to college, you try to make the best grades, right, so that you can get a job, and then you get older and you realize, okay, I got a job. Now, as I get older and older, now I have a job and I'm working, 60 hours a week, 9 to 7 p.m. or whatever, 8 p.m., 10 p.m. I don't know, some people, I have friends work crazy hours, 80 hours, and especially people in the entertainment field, which is interesting to me. And I'll get to that in a second, or more than a second, but in a while. But if you do all of the things, when you look at people, and many of you know that I have worked with people that have more money than they know what to do with, and you look at those people, and some of those people still are not happy. You have to stop at some point and say, what is this about? And I ask that all the time. In my classes, the way I start all of my classes, almost all of them, is what brings you here? But if you look into the final of that, the school, the work, this sort of almost system we're in, the waking up early, the studying hard to make money, to get home, to eat, to survive. But if you really look at it, What people do on their time, in their day off, is they go to a beach or on the vacations. What do? Most people that I know go to, let's say, Europe. And where do they go? To the museum. Right? Why? Because my sort of statement about this is because art and the, quote, non-essential, unquote, things of life are the essential. They are why we live, and they are the enjoyment of those moments also wake you up to the present and the fact that, whoa, look at this, whatever it is. I'm just going to say this, this Van Gogh or whatever, Picasso. But look at these vibrant colors. And they get you to see, and not all of them, obviously, some of them are going to be black and whites, but I'm just saying, as an example, you do all of the things that you do. And this is, again, a reminder. I don't know who I'm talking to right now. This is just going out to the public. We do the things we do to enjoy what many people might call the unessentials. But therefore, if we do all of these essential, purposeful things so that we can then enjoy art, including film, movies, right? Then we might say that art itself is the purpose. It is the ultimate useful thing. It is the culmination of all those years that you walked to school. It's the culmination of all those years you worked so hard, right? And the art goes into so many things. When I talk to artists, and many of you know I interview artists as part of my work lately, oftentimes what they say is, well, I painted this street or this whatever, a bridge, because that bridge can be seen as a work of art, not just something to drive over. This street, sometimes a mundane gray street in Los Angeles can have lighting and shading and fog and colors and things that I don't know that everybody sees. They might just drive through it just trying to get their coffee in the morning to get to work. Now, obviously, all art is different and people have many different reasons for creating art. That's just one example. And the impressionistic movement that shows that it doesn't have to be photorealistic. Your paintings can just be the image of what you actually see in a glance. And all of us have done this. I'm sure many of you, especially with the abstract pieces, you look at a piece, one piece really speaks to you, another piece doesn't speak to you at all. But that doesn't mean that it's not somehow useful or valid as an expression, right? The art itself will speak as a representation of the being's purpose in their lifetime at that moment. And so when you suddenly stop and view a painting, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. For me, some of my most memorable pieces that I have had the honor to view are the pieces I really don't like. Some of them I really didn't like them in the beginning, and then as I got older, I understood them as I got older, as I speak to you now as a relatively old man, right? You can't see me in this because this is just going to be an audio program, but as many of you know, I'm gray hair now, gray beard. Many of my friends are grandparents. So when the yogis do things like the salutation to the sun, this is also an expression of art, right? This is also a reminder. One of my teachers said something, I think it was Watts, that said, the yogis practice the salutation to the sun, for it is an acknowledgement of life in this day, in its brief 16, 18 waking hours is your life. Hold strong to this day. Be awake in this day. And so when I post all of these things online, and many of you, I'm sure a lot of you are very much appreciative of the arts, don't get me wrong. I just felt like bringing this to the attention of the people that I know, the students. I know a lot of you guys are students of mine, to really remember to stop and enjoy the ultimate purposeful thing, right? And even now, somehow, with the awakening during this whole COVID-19 thing, they've realized that movies and visual arts are essential. That's why one of my friends, a couple of my neighbors are still working right now, because the city has decided that, in fact, it is essential, because all of these flowers you stop and look at, painted on a wall or on a canvas, all of these beautiful images of women and men, and beautiful images of plants and animals and cars, and all of those things that we see that are of beauty and perhaps not of beauty, are all part of the purpose of our lives. Right? They're all part of the awakening of consciousness. Now, again, I grew up in an artist family from pretty much day one that I can remember. You know, my brother is a lifelong artist, oil painter. My mother also painted. My uncle painted. All of my friends. I was a childhood musician. I also have done some pencil and paint as well. And all of those things are to contribute. And again, now this is my opinion. You know, obviously, you don't have to agree with me at all. And that's the karma of putting these things out there. But they are the useful, purposeful things, right? They contribute to your awakening, to your enlightenment, your happiness,